So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? It's your boy Stone Stafford riding. Now, I can't say shotgun today because we actually have someone in the middle.
Yeah.
So
it's like that one of those van joints, so the U-Hauls that's got the extra seat in the middle.
It's extra seat in the middle. So I'm riding pseudo shotgun with my boy. You know him as what?
Johnny Vaughn.
Johnny Vaughn.
See?
It's all good. See what I'm saying? That's how it works.
That's exactly what it is.
You are my boy.
Already.
Stone and Jony. But yeah, we have a special guest with us, man, today. Mr. Raab, don't call him Raab Stevenson.
Yeah, Raab Stevenson. How y'all doing?
What up, homie?
Yeah,
Good to see you.
Right off
You
the
too,
bat,
Johnny.
you guys know what to do, man. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Tell a friend, tell a family member. Sharing is caring. You actually appear smarter when you tell people about Life on Podcast. What happens is you share it, they listen to it, and they be like, yo, I didn't know you was that smart.
Right.
So we're helping you. So just go ahead and do that, and then we'll show you guys how to follow Raab and everything when we're done. But Raab, what up?
How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks so
Good
much
to
for
see
taking
you.
the time. This is how much of a homie he is.
Yeah.
Dude literally flew into town Saturday night. Is here, wants to try to get some time in with his family, but in the midst of his family, he squoze me and Johnny in.
Yeah, man.
Yo, that's big. And then he turns right back around. He's going right back out on the road.
First thing in the morning.
Man, dude, I really do appreciate that so much. So we're going to have some fun.
love.
But I'm going to just tell him what you do a little bit.
Okay.
And then I kind of want you to kind of talk about yourself, and then we'll ask you some questions and have some fun, and I'll probably say something that I regret. And then, it's just
Definite.
It's just how it goes.
Definite.
But Raab is a vocal coach.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to say vocal coach, but he's a celebrity vocal coach, one of the biggest in the country. When you say vocal coach, you think of names like a Raab Stevenson and a Jan Smith, and there's one person out in L.A. whose name always comes up.
That's Seth Riggs in L.A.
Yeah.
My partner and friend, Stevie Mackey, who's in L.A.
Mackey, that's who. Yeah.
There's not many black guys in the industry doing that, but there's
Is
a
Unc
few of
Rod
us.
still doing it? Is Unc still
Who?
Unc Rod, who was doing all of the bad boy stuff for a while? Is he still out there with y'all? Kind of in the circulation?
Well, I don't know much about him, but who was doing stuff for Bad Boy was a guy named I can't remember his name at the moment.
Right.
But there's Conrad Robinson, who's Jeff Robinson's brother, who coaches her and works with. I think he discovered Alicia Keys,
Gotcha.
when she was really young before Jeff took over, and then the rest is history. What
Yeah.
we know, but there's me, Stevie Mackey, Nick Cooper. Some of the brothers that are working in the game like that.
Yeah, but these are like the elite of the elite. And what I wanted to get into is, being a studio owner, songwriter, former manager, all that kind of stuff. You hear that term vocal coach all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's the same way people say they're recording artists. And y'all already know me. I keep it 1,000 with you. Just because you can sing don't make you an artist, right? Just because you funny don't make you a comedian. Well, just because you may know how to keep someone on pitch, that don't make you a vocal coach.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into that, and I'm going to keep it 100. Some of y'all feelings. Look, can I just say it right off the top?
It's okay.
Some of you who call yourselves vocal coaches, your feelings are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know. It's not intentional. Yeah. I'm just digging for the truth. And I'm not talking to anyone in particular.
Okay.
And see, that's why I started laughing.
No, I'm not.
Because I felt like you was calling somebody
Nope,
out
I'm not calling
on the
anyone
slide.
out in
Okay.
particular. It's not shots fired.
Okay.
But but this is what's going to happen though.
Okay.
The ones who I'm referring to though, they ain't gonna think I'm referring to them.
Yeah.
That's how it always is.
Yeah.
You're like, man, so many ugly people in the room, and none of the ugly people think you're talking about them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, so Raab, before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I almost jumped to your question. Well, I'm Raab Stevenson. A lot of people are wondering, man, is he Arab or something, the way he spells his name? And I'm like, nah. I used to be an artist. I came out as an artist in 93. My first single, which was a platinum selling single called Foreplay, and had a little Key Sweat groove underneath it, and it did really well. I was on an independent label at that time called Rip It Records.
So I've been throwing this word vocal coach out.
Yes.
Help us define that, please,
All
because
right,
you got your vocal coach, and this is why I want to say it, because I personally feel, and this is my opinion, so correct me.
Okay.
I feel there's a difference between a vocal coach, a vocal trainer, and a performance coach.
Okay.
Me personally, am I wrong or right, or where's some break it down?
Well, we can always go back to artist development or the lack thereof,
Or the
now
lack
in
thereof.
the industry. Yeah. And I came up in the industry where artist development was extremely important, where they set you down, where you had to get with a person that taught you how to speak behind the camera or on camera or do interviews and stuff like that. And then they would take you to your vocal lessons, that would be a separate entity. And then you would get with a performance coach / choreographer. We could put those in the same category. Okay. Now, when it comes to vocal coaching, this is where the dilemma, where we have the difference. You have vocal coach, you have vocal producer.
Right, right. And that's what I meant by performance coach. So vocal producer, right?
Yeah, so you have vocal producer, vocal arranger. So that can slip right in the middle between both of those worlds. So like vocal producers and vocal arrangers are the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You can get in the studio, you can arrange the vocals, you can hear parts, blah, 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 blah. You can tell the singer to sing the song this way based off of a vocal performance. But here's where I can never come up with these crazy terms that people are always saying. The tire meets the road, or whatever you call it.
Rubber meets the road.
Rubber meets the road, all of that stuff. A vocal coach, we're trainers. We help condition the singer to be able to handle any workload. Through training, think of any sport outside of singing. Look at basketball. We're the trainers. Mm-hmm. They're behind the bench of the players.
Right.
When you look at football, we're the trainers. Mm-hmm. They're on the sideline. As soon as somebody get injured, they take them off, do whatever.
Right.
Preseason training, vocal coaching. I work with I'm able to stand on the outside and see where the singer's strengths and weaknesses are. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a bonus that I could sing as well to demonstrate it.
Right.
Now, there's some coaches that are successful but can't sing a lick or never even been on stage. I have a hard time as an artist studying with someone like that because they can't relate. They don't know what it feels like to be out there with that kind of pressure. Mm-hmm. So that's me. That doesn't mean they can't coach or be effective, but that's one thing. But when it comes to what I do as a voice coach, when I got into the game, I came in as a artist, vocal producer, vocal arranger, which I was arranging vocals on my own project. Therefore, people trusted me to do that on other projects. Mm-hmm. So with me, with this training, I knew that there was a gap in being a vocal producer, meaning if a singer was singing a song and they were having trouble hitting certain notes, I would either get them to shy away from the note, lower the key away from the song, which changes the frequencies of the of the song as far as the chakras in the body.
We can go through that all day.
You know what I'm saying? And
okay.
Or I would tell
my gosh.
We talked about rabbit trail, and now we got to do it now. Now we got to do it.
Or I would tell the singer to simply, go take a break. Or whatever that meant. Go eat a meal, which could affect the voice.
Right.
Or go and take a smoke break, which was the absolute worst if they smoked, which definitely going to cause some major problems.
Right.
But at that time, I didn't know what that was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, you have your Adeles who do it, and they're like, well, Adele does it.
Well,
it's like,
but
exceptions to the rule, right?
Well, there's no exception to that rule. Think about the year when she went on vocal rest. She injured her voice mid-performance. Mm-hmm. I don't coach Adele. I would love to work with her. But from one of my other clients that did, that's what happened in the middle of the show. She wound up canceling a tour that would have taken her over 2 years, $50 million loss at that point.
So there was a price to pay.
Yeah. It is. It's a major price to pay. So if you're smoking, for instance, if you're smoking, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead of the game.
No, you're good.
This is where, like I said, and we'll get to the smoking and all that stuff later on, but when you think about as a vocal coach or a vocal producer, I didn't know those things as a vocal producer that, okay, I can tell the singer to fix this, modify the vowel, adjust the vowel, drop the larynx. It'll help drop the larynx, meaning the vocal folds, get them to settle down in order for them to be able to sing in an area of the voice where they're having challenges at successfully with the least amount of effort, and they don't have to work hard to do it. And so with training, if you think of any athlete, all the successful athletes, NBA have amazing athletes. I dare not get on the basketball court and try and play against them. I'm just going to embarrass myself, right? Mm-hmm. But there's some that are just the elite above the ones that are on the teams. You got the LeBrons, you got the Kevin Durant, KD, you got Steph Curry. And you think about their work ethic. They train all the time. So if they get injured, think about the recovery time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Somebody can have a knee injury or like the injury that KD just had when he was with Golden State. Mm-hmm. Look at the recovery time, how fast he came back.
A lot of people don't come back.
It'll be it.
Yeah, right. A lot of people don't come back.
And he came back even stronger. That's where the vocal coaches of the world that do what I do, we're able to help them bounce back.
But from what you're describing, it sounds like it'd be more accurate to call you a vocal. I mean, even though you're all of them, from what you're describing there, that's more a vocal trainer than a coach, right?
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And I think that's what's missing. Yeah. And a lot of people think they're vocal trainers.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here listening to you right now, like drop the larynx, and that's the vocal fold. I'm like, how do you even teach a person to drop their larynx?
The fact that Stone pronounced that word correctly is blowing my mind.
I mean, there's this. I mean, but those are the details that go into it, and and again. We did a podcast on this. I'm telling you, we giving y'all everything you need. We did a whole podcast.
That's why I don't have to talk. Rob is just reiterating everything.
Yeah, we did a whole thing on talent versus skill.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, you can sing, that's your talent, but the skill comes from Rob
training
you and knowing how to drop your larynx. Well, that's gonna be we ought to have a drop the larynx challenge. Drop your larynx challenge. Somehow the booty is going to get involved because that's just what we do.
Drop. No, the larynx don't go that far.
Right.
Darling. That's nice though, but it don't go down that low.
Ooh, girl, I like your larynx.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Oh my gosh.
No, but when you think about it, I mean, the stuff that, as far as training as a vocal coach, there's conferences that we're involved in all the time, in order to be better. Some people, they stop growing. And for me, it's so funny. I signed up for a training seminar just to be better, all the time. But it was all in Spanish. And my wife came down to the studio. Was like, "Why are you listening to this in Spanish?" I was like, "I didn't read the fine print. I was just so excited." So everything is just in Spanish, and it's just like me trying to watch Telemundo and understand what they're saying. And when they laugh, I just laugh with.
That's hilarious.
But they're transcribing it into English, so I'll still have that. So the English speakers that spoke on it, great. The ones that didn't, I have to go back and look at that. But always trying to evolve and be better.
Question on, okay, so a lot of people, you hear the phrase that either talent or power isn't the problem. Knowledge is the problem. So before you became a coach or a trainer, obviously you dropping knowledge right now with just the technicals of how this works. How did that transition happen from coming into the game as an artist? You dropped your single. You probably on this trajectory to be an artist. When did that realization that the knowledge was necessary click in? And then how did that transition to becoming a coach trainer as opposed to remaining an artist?
Well, there was a period where I left the industry. Yeah, I used to work at Boss Town, right around the corner.
Boss Town! Wow!
Right around the corner.
Shout out to the flashback.
Yeah. Well, I used to work there, and Usher was working on his album with Diddy in the other room. I was working with a group that I came up here. We put together like a little super group. It was me, Daryl Adams. He passed last year. Let his soul rest in peace. But the lead singer of Basic Black.
Oh, Daryl! Yeah, Daryl. Yep, absolutely.
Diesel.
Absolutely.
Him and Mucho, who was
KB. Spec.
Yeah. So we put together a group called 911, and Joe Thomas was supposed to be in the group with us.
Okay.
Word.
Yeah.
Like Joe?
Singer Joe.
Like Joe.
How many Joe Thomas singers do you know?
I'm in love. Round and round we go.
What you doing? No, I'm messing with
Now, see, when it's my world, I get to do it. Then when you get someone who can sing,
Here's
like,
the thing. I was gonna get to this later. About how good of friends y'all actually are, because
this is my man.
Okay, so have you listened to the podcast ever? I'm gonna guess the answer's got to be no, because if no, he should have had some free lessons by now.
He sings all the time. Jonta podcast. He was just singing all the songs.
Yeah. See?
Oh, well, Jonta's here.
Yeah.
I just think Stone should be signed up for a course or a class or a session at least twice a week.
If he ever went in the recording and he wanted to do something to get in shape for it, he would call his boy.
I would call. Every client I've had.
That just means that you're okay with that just means that you're okay with being mediocre because you don't call him.
But it's because that's not what I'm trying to do, though. But that's not what I'm trying to do. But to your point, to switch it up on you, if it was what I was trying to do, per what Rob said, I would educate myself. Because it sounds like to me that you still now, to this day, you're making a living. You're in the top echelon of the trainers in the country, and you still educate yourself.
Always.
I mean,
I want to be better every single time.
Nice. Say it again.
There are times that I feel like I know nothing. And people are like, oh my gosh, when we talk voice, I geek out, nerd out over all of that stuff. But then I still feel like there's something missing that I can use as a tool to be better for my clients.
Of course.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? And if I can do that, whether they come to me one time or twice, that I'm able to drop the seed in them to where they'll never forget.
A lot of people will mix that up. Like they'll hear it. It's like if somebody of the caliber of Rob is feeling inadequate in certain situations, then what makes me feel like I can be there? When I think in most situations, people have to take that as encouragement to realize that it's going to continuously be a learning process. Like you're never going to get to that point.
Man, because science is constantly evolving.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to be on the edge of that.
What we're not going to do is gloss over the real nugget that Raab said. And this is what we do. We miss the things that really matter. And that is the spirit of why you do it. Yeah. He doesn't educate himself to continue to be the best vocal trainer.
Yeah.
I educate myself for my clients so that he can give them. If y'all took half of that mentality, I want to be a better producer, not so I can get more Grammys, not so I can get all the shine and all of the clout. I want to be a better producer for my clients. I want to be a better writer for my clients. I want to be a better artist for my fans. Yeah. That changes everything. Yeah, that's the nugget. That's probably why you are who you are and where you are, because you're doing it with the right spirit.
Yeah. It's so funny. An example of that is like when I work with Anderson .Paak. It's so funny.
He's just gonna keep on dropping these names.
I don't mean to, but
I'm waiting for him to be like, yeah.
Dude, when you get to a certain point, that's
after a while, I was like, yeah, I remember when me and MJ were, but go ahead.
That story's coming up later, I bet. That's another story.
Yeah, but with Anderson .Paak, and he called by way of a doctor, and doctors refer clients to me, and I refer them to them. And so we work side by side. So anytime a singer has an injury or something like that, and I hear it, but I don't have the tools to be able to see it or diagnose it properly, I'll send them to doctors that I work with. And don't go see just any ENT, although they may have the qualifications, but just seeing any ENT that doesn't work with singers on the regular or actors on the regular, in that field, don't be in a rush to just run and jump in their chair and let them diagnose you quickly, because sometimes that's never good.
Thank you for saying that.
Always see somebody that works with the artist on a regular, because they understand the workload, and they won't be quick to just throw a steroid at you, and steroid stays in your system 8 to 16 months. You don't get that.
Right.
It's a false sense that everything is okay when you get a steroid, and then you'll go back in a month or two when you haven't changed your habits and get another steroid shot, and then wonder why you're gaining weight.
Wow.
Wonder why you get agitated and get angry all the time. Agitated, like, and then everything you do, you're all aggressive.
Right.
Yeah, every single time. So
like it's a ballad.
He's like,
I'm in love. Lay me down, baby.
It's like, why you angry?
Right.
The girl is not gonna give it up at all. She's putting chastity belt.
You too mad.
Yeah.
Before we tumble too far, because I mean, we can. I think it's important, so I'm gonna try to remember. I'm gonna bookmark this.
Thank you.
But I don't want to gloss over finishing that story about what happened with 911 and Joe Thomas being able to be in that group.
Yeah.
Like, what was the deal with that?
Island Records, he was signed to. There was a fight over the project. So Rip It Records, the label that had the group, wanted to put it all out. But then Island Records, they didn't want it they didn't want Joe involved if he couldn't, basically if they couldn't have the project and put it out themselves, because they were a bigger label at the time, and so Joe couldn't do it at that point.
Okay.
Got you.
Then the whole thing fell apart after that.
No, we put a single out called Cutie. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I must have dropped something in my research. I missed that one. How did I miss that one?
Cutie.
Okay.
911, you can find that.
How'd it go?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be the only one on the Gong Show today.
Yeah, so Cutie was we recorded it here in Atlanta.
Okay.
The group was based out. We actually had the guy that managed the group. His name was Pops, and we recorded it out of his home studio off Cascade.
Okay.
And we recorded that and a whole album, and the album is I'll send it to you.
Oh, really? Okay.
It was amazing.
Okay.
And so at that
hear
time, we put Cutie out, shot the video in New York, and I forget the big director at the time. No, it wasn't. Yeah. Whoever was directing all the big videos at the time, he shot Cutie. A+ from Rex in Effect did the rap.
A+.
Yeah, so he did that, and that was pretty big. And then at that point, I saw some things that I really didn't agree with in the music industry from my independent label, and then with the group. You know what I'm saying? And not just with the members, not with the members of the group, but with how things were being handled financially. And I just didn't want to be a part of that lifestyle. So I left the industry, walked away, and got a job at PetSmart in Buckhead. And worked at Macy's at South Lake Mall.
So you got out.
I walked.
Done.
Walked everything. then turned back, stayed away from music, didn't want to sing anymore for a long time.
So wait a minute. So this is in between. This must have been in between artist and becoming a coach.
I did the artist thing, and then I had a choice to go to Europe and promote Foreplay and that whole album, which was doing really well, and doing interviews. And then I had a chance to either work with Daryl, who was my mentor, and I don't know if you knew that Diesel was cousins to Aaron Hall, and they all grew up.
Well, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. Yeah,
they all grew up
I
together.
didn't know that.
And so there was mentioning of me being in the group and doing a group project and still being able to do that as well. And I did it, but then money wasn't being handled right.
Yeah.
Business, I didn't know much about that. Coming out from welfare and taking care of me and my girlfriend and our child and another one on the way. It was like, I have to make some decisions.
Right.
I don't want to go to jail for not being able to pay child support, so I got to take care of my family.
Smart.
So I left and didn't want to be about that lifestyle, and the lifestyle I'm talking about, running up and down the highway, doing deals, and that just wasn't me.
Right.
And so at that point, I walked. And then I went back to school to get a degree in working with kids, middle grades, at Clayton State University. And then I met a guy that we were in class. And when we have gaps between classes, we would go to like this improv thing on campus. And then he was like, "Yo, he played piano," and I was like, "Yeah."
Now, gaps in classes that's secret for skipping. Right? That's what that is.
No,
you had spaces.
Yeah, and then there would be an hour or two break before the next class. So we were going to do something fun on campus, do like improv. And then next thing you know, they asked us to sing something in improv, and they sang. It's like, "No, you really sing. What you doing in this school like that?" And then one of the professors at Clayton State University asked me, was I a part of the music program? And I was like, "No, I don't want to sing classical music. I'm not interested." And he was like, "Yo, we'll give you a partial scholarship, if you come and do this audition, which is extra money."
Can't take away throwing free money.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I fell in love with music again. And then I got a call, after rededicating my life to Christ. And I was like, one day I was just upset, with God about my gift to sing. I was like, I love singing. I got back on the praise team at church. And I was like, you know what? If I ask you to be my manager, actually I told God, I was like, I don't even want the gift no more. Because all it did was, just brought pain in my life. And I was like, you know what? If you manage me, then everything will be all right. And if anything screws up, it's your fault. And then there's silence. You don't hear any more speaking from God. And then I was like, all right, if I screw it up, I know it's my fault because I'm really good at that. But if I let you lead and guide me, everything will be all right. So Daryl was living in Virginia Beach working at an in-house producer, one of the in-house producers like with Rodney Jerkins and Pharrell and the Neptunes. They had left high school and they were working as in-house producers. A lot of people up there at that time. And so Justin Timberlake was up there mixing his album with Pharrell and Chad.
This the first one? Was it Justified or?
The Justified album.
Okay.
And then while they were in there mixing the record, he asked Serban, the engineer, he said, "You never know how powerful your position can be." He asked him, "Hey, do you know any singers that I could take on the road with me?" And they called Daryl down to the studio, and they took him out to dinner. And Daryl, he was singing background for like Dave Hollister. He was singing background for Uncle Charlie,
right?
Doing stuff like that. And then Daryl, they asked Daryl to find the other guy. Now, remember, I had this pity party with God in my closet, and I'm like, yo, maybe if I call Johnny Wright, who he has a compound in Orlando, and I can go down there, and then I can start all over. I'll sleep at the compound, I'll clean it, I'll be the maintenance man, and do whatever to get back in the game, because I felt like that was my calling after having this powwow with God. And so Daryl calls me, he was like, yo, man, you would never guess who I'm working for. He was like, Justin Timberlake. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you.
Right.
And I was like, man, if you talk to his manager, Johnny Wright, let him know that I'm trying to move back to Orlando. I was getting ready to leave Atlanta, the place I love now. And he was like, I don't know if there's no Johnny Wright, because I didn't meet with him. He met with a guy named Silas, who was overseeing the project, him, doing that kind of thing. He also managed Brian McKnight. And so I was like, okay, cool. I was like, all right, well, let him know that I'm moving back to Orlando, and if I get a chance to see him, just let him know I'm looking for a job. He's like, oh man, if I see him, I'll let him know. He's like, well, anyway, Justin told me to call and find the other guy to go on tour with me. I was like, that's great. Who you gonna call?
I'm on the phone with him.
You big dummy.
Right.
He was like, you big dummy, like that. And I was like, no way. And I was like, okay. Now, mind you, I was just in this closet 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
I get this phone call, and I'm like, okay, great. If it happens, it happens. Okay, thank you. Click. I run back to that same closet, and I'm like, so you are managing me. So if this is you, I just need, confirmation. Not that it's you, but I want to make sure it's about you because I'm singing in church, and I can hear my mom in the back of my mind, like,
Right.
no, you ain't going to sing that devil
You
music.
see that belt after
know
that
what I'm
TV
saying?
appearance.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
got
I'm reliving that. So I'm like, let me go to my church and ask my pastor, and I know my pastor is going to be like,
You were looking for him to shoot it down, weren't you? That's what you.
I knew he was
That's-
going to
yeah.
shoot it down. I knew he was going to shoot it down. His name was Pastor Landers. He ran New Birth South here in Atlanta. So I went to his office and I said, hey, there's a possibility that I might not be on the praise team. And he was like, why, what's happening? I got a call to go and work for Justin Timberlake. And then he did a big sigh. He was like, okay, come on in here and sit down. And I was like, all right. He was like, well, Robert, I got to tell you, when do I get tickets?
right. He was a real one.
Now, mind you,
He was a real one.
mind you, I've never been able to get him tickets. Our schedule never met. He was like, when do I get tickets? It was amazing. And I was like, I goosebumps. I'm like,
Right.
really, God? Like that?
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah. He was like, man, sometimes, God just doesn't reign within the four walls of the man-made church.
Right.
God is everywhere.
Sure.
And sometimes he needs you to go and gather lost sheep that have been lost.
Sure.
And not to force them back into church, but just to remind them that God is there too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
9 days after that, I was in L.A. working for Justin as a background singer.
Well, that answers my question. 'Cause I was like, how did you end up getting with celebrities?
Yeah, that was
And there
it.
you go. So
Well,
that's what
but-
the whole let go, let God looks
But
like.
not even a voice coach.
Right, but
It was 2 days into working for him. He brought his voice coach on the gig.
Okay.
And mind you, I'm at Clayton.
Oh, you were doing background for Justin.
Background.
background.
Right, that's right.
So I'm at Clayton asking all these questions. I was the kid in class, the man in class, and every time Dr. Amos would get up and be like, students, are there any questions about anything? And I was that guy. I was like, hey, yesterday when I was singing this song, I was fine, but today my voice ain't working right. What's going on, man? And then he was like, oh, did you sleep with the fan on, the ceiling hot, air conditioning on? Did you do all these other things? That didn't make any sense. Did you go outside barefoot in the rain? I'm like, what?
right.
I was like, that ain't gonna make my voice go away. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. And no disrespect to him, but I'm like, they just didn't have these answers. But when I met Justin's voice coach, she had all this information, and I would always ask her.
Was this Jane Smith at the time?
Nope. Jan Smith worked with Bieber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Robin Wiley, she coached the kids on the Mickey Mouse Club from Justin Timberlake, J.C. Chazé. She did the arrangements for NSYNC. She also worked with Ryan Tedder for One Republic,
Dude,
songwriter,
right.
and we can talk about that. I coach him as well,
Right
which
on.
is a blessing.
Of course you
but,
do.
But I'm gonna tell you about how that. Well, if we have time, but how that came.
We got
about,
all
which
day.
is crazy.
You didn't coach Lucifer, did you? Because he had the voices of voices.
I don't fool with the devil, man.
Well, he was at the time he was an angel.
I know.
At the time he was an angel.
I ain't helping him.
Okay, I'm just wondering
ain't
if
helping
that's how high your skills went.
That's
but-
my only where I draw the line.
No, right
Hold
there.
on. What'd you say in the lyrics of this song? I'm gonna have to refer you to somebody else. There you go. Nah, but in that case, but it just turned into something like really, really amazing. I would follow her around. I would ask her, could I meet with her earlier just to ask questions? Never trying to be a voice coach, never trying to make a career out of it. I just wanted to be a better, healthier singer for the tour. And I knew she knew these tools that I didn't. And in order for me to be a better singer. And so while doing that, she saw how serious I was, and she gave me a CD of vocal exercises to do with Justin when she wasn't able to be out on tour. And that would happen every now and then, but then she
You became the vocal coach understudy? Like,
it was something like that. But
Right
then
on.
at the same time, she was doing arrangements for tours, and I was able to give input and
Wow.
then even share some ideas,
And
which
it
is what I
begins.
did as an artist to be able to do some of the arranging. And then one of the other things I did on tour, with nobody asked me, but I just always wanted to help. And that's what a team player be. Some people call it a brown noser or whatever. But my thing is, let's make this thing as easy as possible. So before the tour would come out, I would ask the music director, do you have a list of all the songs for the tour? And then so I would put the list of the songs. He would give me the list of the songs for the tour. I would print out all the lyrics, or come up. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Or I would come up with all the lyrics for all the songs if they were available. Or I would listen to the song and try and figure it out myself. and get close to it. And then I would highlight every place where there were background vocals, every place. And now I did a booklet for me, and I was like, why don't I just do it for everybody, make it easier for everyone? So I printed all these booklets and they weren't just crazy books. I put the singer's picture, their name, their title, their vocal part, alto to soprano, tenor.
That sounds like E for excellence to me, Johnny.
Yeah.
The formula.
And then I'll put vocal
The
exercises
formula.
in there, but Sharpies, markers for them to take notes, my own money, and then I'll send it to them. And send it to this person. And then give one for the vocal coach, give one for Justin, get one for the music director. So we'll all have it and we'll be in sync with each other. And so when they got out there, Justin...
I see what you did. I saw how you slid that in sync in there.
Exactly right. But one day he came in the rehearsal and he was laughing at me, trying to make fun of me.
For the work.
Yeah, and he was like, yo, which one of y'all girls did this?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I was like, it was me. It wasn't no girl. And then he was like, yo, you did this? And he looked at the girl and went, Yeah. But that smirk was like he was impressed.
Exactly.
Because somebody went the extra mile.
Because women do tend to be more detailed.
Exactly.
Yep.
So instead, I did that because I get that from my mom. My mom, she's really organized.
And his
the
mom
work
is a woman.
Coordinator.
I mean, that's usually how
thought I'd break
moms
that down.
work.
Well, she made us do things like that. So I did that for the tour, and he remembered that. And then she remembered that.
Why do you think he remembered that, Rob?
Well,
Because nobody done it
nobody
before.
did it for him.
Yeah, and would
Nobody
it be
did it
just
for
the degree of detail and excellence that you did?
Yeah.
It made an impact,
It
right?
made an
and
impact.
I'm being very serious.
No, it's
'cause
true.
we say this stuff and
Yeah.
people gloss over. They act
Yeah.
like it's an option.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that are not optional
Yeah.
when you want to operate on a certain level.
Absolutely. And then what do you give a person that has everything? That's how they would look at it. Most people would. They'd be like, oh, he got everything. He got people that could do that. Well, they're not doing it.
Right.
You know, and then I'm a singer. I want the easiest way out. You know, if we don't have to work hard, I'll take the hit of all that. I'll spend the time and put these books together. It's nothing. It ain't gonna cost me nothing. I can go and buy 5 notebooks from Staples. I'm going to make over $2,000 this week. It's worth the investment.
Right.
And whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? So I did that, put all that stuff together. Fast forward later on, Robin gets sick. That CD that she gave for me to work with Justin on, God told me to coach 1,000 singers off of that CD, whether they pay me or not. Rather they pay me or not. Not even during touring season. We're off.
Rather they paid you or not.
Rather they pay me or not.
Not a seat plan. That's what that is.
I'm like, all right, I could do that. 1,000 singers, God, I got this.
Which sounds to me that
this is nothing.
you don't do everything just for the dollar.
No, I'm like, I got it. Hold on. My conversation with God was, I was like, okay, whether they pay me or not, I'm like, how am I going to pay these bills? And then there's silence. And then God's like, no, you really don't get it. You know who I am. And then I'm like, all right, I'll do it. You tell me to do it. I got this. I go and coach. I get up to 287 singers. I'm in September. This happened at the top of the year when, you make your New Year's resolution. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to eat healthy.
Right.
That's when that started. I'm in September, only 287 singers. I was getting rejected left and right. I would go to church and see if I can warm up the praise team. And I had a little book, I lie to you not, and I would count how many people would be in there before we get started. I'm going, oh, they got 56 in here. Yes.
Wow.
And then I'll go to another church and they'd be like, no, we got a department that handle that. You just sit on over there. You can sit and listen and learn. But I was getting rejected a lot. Right. But one day I came home on a Sunday from church and I was flicking through the channels and I'm watching, flicking through the channel, and then the Karate Kid shows up. I'm frustrated with God. I'm like, God, I don't know how am I going to make it to 1,000 singers. I don't want to fail this test. And Karate Kid is on. Mr. Miyagi, Ralph Macchio, and he's pissed off because he's still getting his butt kicked. And then he ain't getting taught karate. He got him doing house chores. He's mad. And then I flick past it because I'm mad. And then I go back to it. Every time I go back to the channel, I hear laughter outside. I go past the channel, and then I hear laughter outside. And then I stay on the channel. My daughter, Dominique, falls in the room, literally falls on the floor, opens the door, falls on the floor, laughing her face off. I'm annoyed at this point. I'm like, get out of here, or is she going to be grounded because I'm having a pity party with God? And then God says, it was never about the number of singers. It was about the quality of singers. The ones that really wanted to work, you did work with. And it was about your love and dedication and sacrifice to those 287 singers. And out of 287 singers, not even half of them paid me. Probably
Right.
not even 3/4 of them paid for anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was just for the sheer love and help. You know what I'm saying?
And of course, you sharpening the skill itself too. I mean,
That's
that was
exactly
really
what it was. It was sharpening my ear. It was sharpening me to be able to hear voices, hear things that were similar in different voices, patterns in voices, breaks in the person's voice, areas where the voice, when the person start just even talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I hearing this? It's crazy. Your voice breaks around this note and that note. And they're like, huh? Are you serious? How do you know that? You haven't
Right.
even heard me sing. That stuff was happening, and it
All
still
that
does.
was developed, wrapped
It
up in a thing
was.
called obedience.
Absolutely.
And granted, if you're the person that gives attributes to the moon and the universe and flowers, that'll mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
But for
It does for me.
believers, that's all wrapped up in that word obedience.
Absolutely.
Because obedience isn't just doing what you're told. It's almost like a parent.
Yeah.
You know, you tell your child what to do, but they don't know what's wrapped up in that. We know the benefits
Yeah.
of why we're telling you what to do. It might not make sense to the child.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
So yeah, it's good for
But
you.
it took off. And then at that point, once again, just helping those singers do that, I'm once again back here at the Tabernacle. We're doing a club show with Justin. And he does these little promo things to promote the Future Sex Love Show album. And so I'm out hanging with my friends, my boy Shannon and Kinsey. Shannon, he brings my truck up. And then we laughing and talking, getting ready to go inside and watch the show. They're going to watch the show, and I go and get dressed. I get the phone call from security, and they're saying, Justin needs you to warm him up tonight because his voice coach died earlier that year, 2006.
Whoa.
And even in her hospital bed, it was like she was downloading more information on me. Like she knew she
You
was
were
leaving.
next. Right. Wow.
Yeah, and she had no kids, and she just kept pouring this information. And me, listen to me, clueless about anything. If you ever met a person that was more naive, that was me.
Well, I mean, we already heard about the phone call when it was like, "Hey, man, just looking for somebody." And you just like, "Oh, who you going to?" Yeah.
But seriously, but I wasn't thinking of me.
It's amazing to find people who have that talent level. I'm gonna say it since you. I mean, I think you probably can now, but still operates in that level of humility where you're not expecting to be that person. That's
No,
called.
not at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I got because you keep talking about so many things. It's
Yeah.
making me think about stuff. We're talking about like the inspiration in yourself. I'm finna jump ahead and we can come back to this again because I got another bookmark. There's this video out
Okay.
of you coaching Rihanna.
Yes.
And like back in the day, and I love this video because it pops up randomly on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And people used to talk about how Rihanna was a one-trick pony,
Terrible. Oh, yeah.
monotone, horrible singer, and you were just working her out before a show. And I'm not sure how, because I know she changes clothes in this video too. So I'm guessing you were with her
Yeah.
for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of that video, you look her dead in the face, and you're like, it doesn't matter what anybody
Everything.
says.
Yep.
You're a vocalist.
Yep.
And she turns from the camera, so I can't tell if she broke down and started crying or not.
Oh, yeah.
But you can tell that in that moment, she felt a level of validation. So
You know what, man? It's so funny. It's a God thing again. I got the call. It's funny. The music director for Justin, we became like the closest. He's one of my best friends.
okay.
And he doesn't just give me work just because he's my best friend. He's the type of guy that I admire what he does. He's got the files for all the Michael Jackson stuff to put together, the Cirque du Soleil stuff. Like literally, he's the only guy that walks with hands like security guards that has the cases locked to his
With the
wrist.
handcuffs and stuff.
Everything that Michael recorded.
imagine
And he works with Madonna and all these other stuff. So Kevin and Jamie King, they because once again, when I go on a job, everybody is special to me.
Right.
Everyone. If you haven't noticed that,
Right.
we know that.
I do,
Each other.
yeah.
Everybody is special, and he just knew that I was the guy for the job to work with Ree, and they called me about an award show over the phone when whoever she was working with wasn't working, and I assisted. Yeah, no pay, don't worry about it. Let me just help first and make sure you're good. And then once that seed is planted and then they like what they hear, they normally come back. And so I helped her with that particular job. But then they flew me out to get her ready for this particular tour. And I met with her, and one of my agreements with God is when God has to say something, I have to say it regardless to what happens
Okay.
in that moment. And sometimes I kind of kind of like, you really want me to say that? Why? Like right at this moment, I'm gonna be fired. Do you understand? Well, you got me here. It turns into stuff like that. And so in that moment, something was said in the rehearsal. There were some tears that were shed. And then at that point, it was left up to her to which one does she believe in. Here's the plan. And I always go to my matrix blue pill, red pill thing. The blue pill is going to be the training aspect. Nobody likes their trainer until they start seeing results. Right. The red pill,
you still don't like the trainer after that.
well, until leg day show up, and then you hate it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then the red pill, you're going to want to go party. You're going to want to go drink. You're going to want to go smoke. You're going to do all of those things. And that comes with repercussions, consequences for your actions. So if you do those things, that's what it is. And for me, I'll tell you, this is what's going to happen if you do X, Y, and Z. I'm just letting you know. And once you go there, I can't help you.
Right.
And I have to let you stand on your own because you're human, you're a person. Let you deal with it. And then when they get out there and they do it, they're like, help me. I'm like,
yeah.
Right.
I told you.
You did it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't go ha.
I think you do.
Of course you do.
At least on the inside you do. Yeah. Come on, we keep it real on Life on Podcast.
I tried to tell you. I'm like, now, but then they're ready to listen after the lesson is learned. I'm like, now this is how we don't fall into that trap again. But in that case, what happened was we had been putting in a lot of work. And I said, you know what? I don't care what nobody say. You keep doing what you're doing. You're not Beyonce. You're supposed to be Rihanna, who you are. And I said, in the moment, in the midst of this, yes, people are going to want to dog you out just to get you to react. But you sing, and this is how we're going to know that you are the singer that we've been talking about. People are going to start coming into our studios as coaches wanting to sing your songs for like The Voice and for American Idol and all these other shows. And when you see that, you're going to know that all that has changed.
Right.
And so we were here once again, back in my home, the A. I'm from Orlando, but the A is my home. We were at Chastain Park when that video took place.
Word.
Wow.
It's crazy because like
shut it down.
Watching the video, you don't even like. I've never heard this part of the story.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know there was all that underscore and stuff. I thought it was just from the on surface. I mean, being in the radio industry, I know what people were saying because we were saying
they were like she wasn't a singer
coming out. We were saying the same thing. I literally thought it was tied just to that. I didn't know it was all of this under the surface and stuff. So I mean, that leads me to think that
people were wearing her out.
Exactly.
And I was like, we're gonna shut their mouths. Yeah. And this is how we're gonna do it.
Stone's talked about the 3 jobs that you've already got that you move between. So obviously psychologist is a part of it. Like how much
I did that in school as well.
Is that your actual background?
Well, no, not my background, but
right.
child psychology for middle grades education. You have to do a lot of psychology classes.
How much of that translates into it? Like all of it 100%?
With therapists, we're all of that. In fact, I should go and get more of that, to be a actual psychologist.
To be a better coach because you get it.
But the only problem is it's the time.
Yeah.
It's because when touring season hit, because my schedule is so crazy, there's a lot of things I want to do. I want to there's some things that, as far as science is concerned, called MFR, myofascial release, where you can, and I have a certification in that, but in order to be licensed to touch, I have to have a massage therapist license in order to go in deeper with that. So there's things that we can touch around the neck, to help loosen up tension in the neck, the SEM, all type of things in this particular area to help loosen that area up for singers. Because
Isn't
just
that
like you
$20
get
grand to get that certification?
Listen, it's a lot, but it's not even that. It's worth the investment because once I do have that, I can touch, even more.
It's value add.
And it's more value. It pays for itself like within a month.
So I just have to ask, if any of you listening right now, and you call yourself a vocal coach or a vocal trainer, be honest with yourself because you're the only person. I can't hear your answer, so you don't have to impress me. You're by yourself. Ask yourself, half the stuff Rob is talking about, did you even think that you need to do that? Yeah. Like, because that's what we're talking about. What like E.T. says, everyone wants to be a lion until it's time to do what lions do. Yeah. Everybody want to be in the NFL until it's time to train like an NFL player. Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing psychologists. Yeah. I'm hearing like biologists. Masseuse. Yeah. I'm hearing certifications. I'm hearing continuing education. I'm hearing humility. Yeah. The vocal trainers, I'm graciously calling y'all vocal trainers. The vocal coaches and people that come through here that I meet, not even a smidgen.
And not even to touch
close.
on that, you touching all of the extra stuff. I'll be willing to bet you're probably a master musical theorist too. I would assume.
Well, no, not even close.
Okay.
But I just hear music.
He has an ear though.
Like
yeah,
that.
he does have an ear.
Yeah, I hear music. I hear it like that. To have musical, theory and all that stuff, it's great. But the majority of the artists that come through my way, majority of them
Can't even think either.
They don't hear it.
Right.
And then a lot of them, for them to now, because their careers are doing this, to go back and try and learn that,
Would mess up the trajectory.
it'll mess up their trajectory. And then if they, a lot of them feel like it puts them in a box too. Now, if you're doing, it helps to have music theory, for like if you're doing session work for like films as far as singing or playing instruments, they look on that because they want you to go and read the score, play it as is.
Right.
They don't want to hear about your feelings in the track. Right. You're going to play it just like the crescendo says. They don't care about none of that.
A little more gospel in it.
They're like, no, play the part and get out.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty to the point. Doing that, and you'll continue to work in that area if that's what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
But the majority of the people that come and see me, some of them can do both. Some of them are really amazing at sight reading, but those people that come to me to help pull out those emotions and feeling to add more of that to what they're doing as well.
Okay.
So I have to ask you then, because I did kind of just shoot fire shots at vocal coaches and stuff like that.
Okay.
For the artists that are listening, what should they look for then in a vocal coach? Because you have artists that want to have a vocal coach, and then when the person's like, "Oh, I do vocal coaching," and maybe because they have an office space somewhere, they think they're legit. How would you advise or consult an artist on how to find a really quality vocal coach?
Well, first of all,
trainer.
you have to get with somebody that you can actually grow with. Number one. What I mean by that is, yes, it helps if the person can sing and demonstrate something, but we're humans. We mimic what we hear and see. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm in a choir and somebody's singing their vibrato like this, yeah, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, everybody like it when they do it. Well, let me do it.
Right.
They're going to do that, or do eyebrow vibrato, or tongue vibrato. They're going to do it all.
I never understood that.
Man.
Is that involuntary?
Yeah, man, it's just somebody picked that up.
Yeah.
Never-
Wait, can I answer the question? And because Justin has a very distinct vibrato form. Like
Timberlake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when you go in to coach him, do you strip all that away and we're just doing bass stuff? Or you work with it
everybody. We all have fingerprints.
Oh, okay.
That's your vocal. That's your voice. Everybody's different. Everybody's special. My thing is not to tear down, but to build up.
Okay. So
Simple
start from
as-
where they are.
Enhance,
Yeah,
augment.
yeah. And so whatever that vibrato is, if you have vibrato, what vibrato does, it shows that a singer has color, warmth, depth to the voice. But it's also an illusion tool.
Absolutely.
The illusion tool is that more is actually happening than what's really there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if you put vibrato in the right spot, to the listener, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, they sing with so much emotion.
Right.
And that's one thing that I have a hard time with some of the producers that produce some urban music for right now, because they're stripping all that stuff down and dumbing down our vocals.
Right.
Where a lot of the Caucasian artists that come and see me, they're adding all of that
they're
in
throwing it
their
back in.
vocal.
Right.
Like right away, I need to learn how to do this, and I need to do it right now, quickly, because I'm going in the studio after this session, and I'm going to apply it.
Wow.
I have a hard time with that,
Yeah.
because we're the ones that started it. Don't take it away.
I didn't mean to knock us off track. It's
No,
just,
no,
I know
but
it's
it's
that
true.
was-
something
that
you
was-
shouldn't
that
have
But
was
that's
done.
what's
right there.
happening.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So in that particular instance with Justin, when he starts, he does what he does. I honor what his coach did before me.
Okay.
Robin Wiley. I said she coached all these kids, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, all of them on the Mickey Mouse Club. So I want to honor what she did with him. So with his vibrato, he's able to speed it up, slow it down. You listen to Brandi Carlile, she'll speed it up. And those are bags of tricks in the vocal arsenal. If you can speed the vibrato up, slow it down, it adds more dynamics, along with the volume and the control of the voice.
As a violin player, like I have a very high respect for singers who can do it, because
Yes.
our vibrato on string instruments, I mean, obviously,
Farrakhan.
it's one of the, yes,
Blew my mind.
yep, and that, I mean, it does it shows a mastery beyond. I mean, I think a lot of people don't really have the capacity to appreciate it because they don't understand the technique. Like for me, transitioning from doing this, and then I can hear somebody who can mimic what I can do with my wrist and my fingers with their voice, it blows my mind.
Yeah, and those are the great storytellers. Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin, Nina Simone. You know what I'm saying? We can go back and listen to them. They have all of those elements in their voice. And then those singers make for great storytellers. You know, music is ministry. You know, it's not just ministry for the church. You know, if I rap about something bad, you know, that's going to influence people to gangbang and do whatever, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go gangbang. It's going to inspire me to do something really awful.
I always tell people I would never rob a bank listening to Engelbert Humperdinck.
Yeah, not at all.
Ever.
Not even close. Or the Beatles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But my whole point is it'll inspire you to do great things or some really bad things.
Right.
So at that point, when you're singing and you're telling these stories, that's what convicts us. And that's what makes it relatable for us. And that makes us want to go and see them in concert, you know, at the end of the day. So if you can pull that off, that's the biggest thing. And dynamics, I train and build all that stuff with the voice as well, based on what their vocal style is. You know what I'm saying?
I love
artists looking for a vocalist. How do you know they do all that stuff?
Like, how do they find out? Because you kind of just answered the question. Find somebody who can start where you
Cash
are.
App too. You need to show your Cash App because those who do call themselves vocal trainers, they just gonna take what you did and apply it. You know what I mean? So it still won't work out right though. 'Cause you gotta have the
But you gotta hear it. You gotta know how to break the transition.
How does the artist find a person that does this?
Well, so here's the thing. You can hit me up at robertraab.com, and then I can share you a few of the teachers that I work with.
Okay.
You know, that I trust what their technique, and I know that they're really awesome and they're going to get results. And we somewhat speak similar languages. You know what I'm saying?
Clear on that. It's Robert Raab, R-A-A-B. So Robert, R-A-A-B.
Yeah, Instagram. Yeah. And then if I have time where I can actually be able to work with you, and please be patient. Right now, I'm on what I call our flex schedule because I'm out with artists touring, and sometimes I don't know my schedule until 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours. And then if we have gaps where I can teach while on the road, I'll slide somebody in there really quickly. To fill it up.
Because you're on my show, and you said that, and I look out for my people.
Okay.
The same way you don't have to get a massage license.
Yeah. You don't.
But you're going to do it because it'll enhance what you do.
Absolutely.
And you're willing to make that I word, investment.
Yeah.
Please don't come at Rob with some $25 an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to just put it out there, okay?
Yeah.
Don't do it.
That's not going to happen.
I like how he nicely just said, that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I mean, either you want a Fiat or you want a Ferrari.
Yeah.
But they're not, Bentleys are never on sale, like Eric says all the time, right? So seriously, come on. You're going to pay for what you get. You're hearing what makes him and his colleagues so unique. So please don't come at with the whole, do you got a payment plan? Do you take stimulus check? Like, just come on.
Do you take stimulus check? Well, I'm sure he would.
Stimulus check is fine, but you know what I'm saying. But he's not on WIC program. He's not on.
Yeah. I love the bless your heart. That's the undertone of what he. I love that.
But you have to say it. Unfortunately, you have to. Our people though, because we keep trying to get stuff on the cheap and on the low, but then wonder why we get the cheap and low value.
Well, I think it's important to allow people to go through that moment anyway, because if someone does approach you with them, you're gonna hit them with the that's not going to work. And then eventually, like you said earlier, you will learn that lesson that you can't undercut value.
And you phase out those who aren't serious.
And here's the deal. And this doesn't happen with all record labels, but in our industry, the record labels that have put up money for their artists, you know what I'm saying? I would think they want to protect their investment. So they should really, I feel like, if you're doing voice lessons, it should be the artist's responsibility instead of leave it for the label to deal with. Okay. Because most labels, they have that 60, 90-day clause. Right. We'll pay you for as you're being a contracted worker 90 days later, and I have a hard time.
Yeah, that 90 stuff is.
I don't do that no more.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't, because I'm not a bill collector. I don't
don't
like
get me
chasing
started.
people to get paid for services that I just did yesterday. Yeah.
Let it have my money. Let it have my money. Let it have my money before it even gets started. Anyway.
But not all record labels work like that, but I feel like, once again, that responsibility should fall on the artist.
Right.
You want to be better for your fans.
Say it again.
You want to be better for your fans and invest in your own self. And that's one of the things. If you're going to go out and you're going to go and splurge and buy a chain and then not take care of your team that's really helping you get there, yeah, you're heading down the wrong path. I'm sorry, because I've seen that go out the window really quickly. And then the chain get pawned, and then it's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna close with this, and then you close with whatever.
I ain't closing with nothing. I got some other stuff to talk about.
Come on, bring it
But
on.
this is gonna be the last thing I say.
Okay.
Because I think, and this is my opinion. So again,
Come on.
say no, Stone. That's actually not right or right.
Okay, no, it's all good.
Is there such thing? And if there isn't, still in my opinion, I think there should be.
Okay.
Vocal coaching and training for rappers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I coach. I've been blessed to work with 3000 to help them get back for the what's the film? Jimi Hendrix film.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Prepped them for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, prepped them for that. I was able to help him with Outkast to do the Outkast reunion tour years ago. We were part of that. Vic Mensa, Dominique Fike. We worked with Russ.
Oh really?
Russ used to come over to the house,
Yo.
and it's so funny. He used to come to the house and work, and then before the pandemic, we was trying to get together, but my schedule was crazy, and he would come over in that Nissan Pathfinder.
Still driving a Nissan Pathfinder?
Well, at that time, and I was like, and it's funny. I worked with Elon Musk's girlfriend. She's a DJ. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, I've been blessed to work with so many people. Some of them, I'm like, man, this person is really special. Why haven't I heard of this person? And Russ was one of those people.
Yeah.
And he would leave, and I'd walk him out the front door. And I see him jump in his Pathfinder, and never judging or sizing people up. I'm like, this dude is really special. What? Something's different.
And then you went and saw the 12 million followers?
No. I didn't. You know what? I didn't see that until the pandemic last year.
Really? Okay.
And I was like, why does this kid look familiar? Honey! My wife, she handles all the scheduling. She was like, she's like, yeah, that's Russ. We work with him. And I was like, I thought he looked familiar. And then we would sit down and talk about it. And then I looked at some of his videos, and it blew my mind because I always talk to the young artists, the independent artists, how a lot of my big artists are doing it to pour back into them. This is how we're doing it on this level where you're trying to get to. If you could do this yourself, you have to become the label. So you got to be the entity for all of these different areas if you have the funds or the time mainly to be able to get it done. So rappers, yes, can be coached.
What is it about them that you coach? Like
the same thing.
What's breathing? Is it like
it's,
what?
It's the same process. If you have two functioning vocal folds, that work. Most rappers now are really melodic, more melodic than they've ever been.
Even more so, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you think of the rappers that came up when we were coming, some of them were melodic, but a lot of them was just really hard. Really hard. And there was hardly any melody.
And then Ja Rule and Nelly changed all of that.
Well, then some other ones did. You know what I'm saying? It made it more melodic.
Right.
And so now some of them are singing it's crazy. It went from a musical bridge and R&B songs, and then to like a 8 to 16 bar rap, and then now it went to rappers getting singers to sing their hook, to where the rappers singing their own hooks. Yeah, so it turned into a lot of that.
To be clear, whether you're a melodic rapper or not, the vocal coaching and training.
And we're just talking about the fact that it's a muscle.
Necessary,
is what it is.
It is because their voice.
I really believe there are a ton of rappers that literally never knew. that vocal coaching could benefit.
But I mean, I've heard some actual public speakers have vocal coaches.
No, public speakers are the number one seen people at the ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctors' offices because their voices wear out. School teachers' voices wear out. If you're talking constantly on a regular day,
volume.
Like Erica Campbell, Mary, I coach her as well, and she runs a podcast. And the majority of her fatigue comes from talking.
Right.
You know? And so when they go, then you have the cheerleaders and then you have singers. But a lot of our singers won't go and see the ENT. You know, because one
video because y'all couldn't see his hand. There's a lot about us. We support us.
Yeah, we won't go and see the ENT because once it's a specialist, and then two, you got to spend more money to go and see them in most cases. So a lot of insurance companies were like, no, well you have to go and see that one because that one's not in your network. And it's like they down the street. What network are you talking about? A complication thing. But then once again, you gotta look at that. Look out for your own well-being. So that stuff, like with rappers. It makes me like Drake. I don't work with him, but his coach is a coach that he worked with for years. It's from Atlanta. Yeah, that coach Drake. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So all the melodic stuff he's been doing, that if one, it comes from him, but it came from her keeping him in shape vocally to be able to handle that. So kudos to her as well.
Nice.
So rappers, yes, they need it on the regular.
Thank you for that.
I want to get personal.
Come
on. Because all of the bookmarks that I put in,
Bring it on.
you ended up hitting them, all of them. So there's no sense in even going back. I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing these. Is that quartz crystal, and are those obsidian?
This is quartz.
Okay.
These are black diamonds.
Black diamonds? Okay. Mine are obsidian. I'm not at the black diamond stage yet.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay. So once again, we're back in the A.
Because this
again.
Uh-huh.
So back in the A, there was an artist that came to me, was introduced to me to do some work for them. I didn't have much time, but I facilitated the whole project for working with this particular young artist. Introduced her to a guy named Shannon Houchins, who he worked and did like remixes and stuff with JD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in the day, Bubba Sparks and all these other artists, Colt Ford, all the stuff. But now they have a film and production company in Nashville. And so I brought them to them. They produced some records, introduced her to my friends in the Black Eyed Peas, produced records for them. And as a gift, they gifted me these.
Right on. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Nice gift.
Rob would never pay for these.
That's not what I was thinking. So
That's not me.
When we got into the
And
whole,
so a
when we-
Reiki master made this for me. Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I asked is because when we were talking about frequencies and how that
Chakras.
resonance.
And
how
I was saying that was another one of the things that got glossed over. In
the
the
reason
beginning.
why I wear
We
my
was talking about
obsidians
chakras.
here is energy balance. That's my
Chakras.
internal stuff. So I was wondering if it was that connection. For
Chakras.
them.
Oh yeah, chakras.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the
They're
most
real.
powerful people that I work with in that realm is Pharrell.
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
One of the most amazing human beings. Like when I work with him, I feel like I'm working with
An actual enlightened being.
like he ain't even from this planet.
I've heard other people say, I can't wait for the day I get to
a
walk in the
monk,
rooms.
an elder, and then the admiration I have for him and love for him. Yeah, he sends it back before I can even get it out. His level of humility is on a whole nother level, but his light shines so bright, in his presence.
So he's not a vampire because you just said
I asked
light.
him that. Yeah. We was working together in Philly. He was doing this festival. And I had heard in the press, and somebody sent something on Facebook. It was like, this your boy? And I said, yeah, that is my brother. And then I looked at the pictures.
It was from
and I was like,
40 years ago.
and I looked at that. And it was like 16 pictures or something like that. 4, 4, 4, 4, right? And I said, P, I said, look, man, I got to tell you, I don't really dig the press like that, but I got to admit, I think it might be true. You might be a vampire, bro.
Why? What's the vampire thing coming from?
Because
he doesn't age.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't
I know.
And then me working
I
with
know.
him, he doesn't even sleep. He goes hard. Like he just made
He got
his.
that Benjamin Button Dick Clark
It's like
syndrome.
I asked him one time. I was like, why do you continue to do this? And it's because his itch to want to always hear something fresh and new.
I've heard some stuff when he was getting ready to launch that last it wasn't the clothing line. It was the body gel stuff, like the skincare
Face
stuff he was
stuff?
doing. And he was actually talking about like some of his meditation regimen, but he stopped and didn't get deep into it. But I've heard rumors that
I didn't know much about chakras, to be honest with you, until him.
until you just talk to him.
And
Okay.
he sent me all
Both
these.
of y'all need to get with Tosh. She has a reading machine
Oh.
where you put each of your fingers in and it reads your chakra and everything. Y'all try to get with her on
I
that.
would love to do that.
I'm down.
But
Yeah.
he hit me up with this stuff. I'm working on a special project with him on some of that stuff as well, which is mind-boggling.
I bet.
Nice.
But he's amazing.
Shout out to Pharrell for being
big
an
up,
amazing human
skateboard
being.
P.
Yeah. Came close to working with Busta Rhymes, but that didn't happen yet. But it
Okay.
could.
But still possible. Is that on the
possible.
table? Okay.
Yeah, still possible. I'm sure when we see each other again, he's like, son.
Ah, right.
Yeah, to turn into that. Yeah, but it'll be a dream of mine to work with him or even him. Came close to working with Eminem when they did the Monster Tour, him and Rihanna. They did that together. Yeah, came really close.
Is there anyone? This is my literally.
That was
my
it.
last
That was on my same thing.
Anyone
Like, what's the
anyone you
dream?
would want to? Who's on your
My radar?
bucket list of
My bucket
if
list.
I could work with this person, I'm good for my career.
You know what?
I mean, you've already done the echelon of everybody. So.
There's some I would still love to be able to. I came close to working with Michael. Close, but he's gone. But I would like to work with Beyonce.
Okay.
I worked with Kelly and Michelle. I would love to work with Beyonce, and that came close to happening a couple times. I feel like, and this is once again no disrespect, but I feel like something's been happening with Mariah Carey's voice for a while, and I would love to help.
Yeah.
To help. Mm-hmm. To simply help. I've been blessed to work with my hero, Charlie Wilson.
Right on.
And as an artist, I always admired Uncle Charlie. And when I got the call to go to his house and work with him, and for me, once I'm in that space, all that stuff goes out the window. Celebrity, none of that stuff happens.
Sure.
But I'm just there to serve.
Yeah.
And while they're working with him, and I was like, yeah, you got to sing it like this, da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, man, I'd love to sing it like you. And I was like, and the inside, I snapped out of it.
Right. I know you was like, what?
What?
And my side, on the inside, I was like, oh my life. Oh my life, I've been trying to sing like you, and you just said that to me? Oh God. Lord Jesus. I'm going to cry right now. And his wife was sitting right there. Yeah.
That is hilarious.
But it was beautiful. And then I ran into him at the airport shortly last year. Crazy. And we sat down for breakfast. We were on an early flight, and I secretly paid for his breakfast and then got on my flight and took off. But he was like, yeah, I still use your warm-ups before doing the show.
That's what's up.
And I got on the plane, and I was like, oh, my God.
That's what's
Charlie.
up.
Yeah, but honored to work with him. But, yeah, so those two, and there's a couple more on the list as well. Like, I would love to work with Bono from U2. I would love to have a stab at him.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be fun.
It's good to see that people still have goals after they've achieved all the goals. I mean,
that's a great,
Man, I knew this was going to be a great one. I knew it coming in. That's why, and we talked a while about getting them on here.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be the right one and the right thing. And you came up in my mind the other day, and I was like, you know what? I said now.
And then timing just happened to work out the way he had a small window to be able to make it happen. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, you got to thank my wife, because my wife normally don't do that. So you must be special to my wife.
Oh, thank you.
There's only one other time my wife let me do something like this when I haven't seen them in a while. Because they were gone for 5 weeks. Well, 6 weeks before I saw them on Saturday. And she was in the hospital. This is going to be crazy. Ladies, don't get mad, but I couldn't fly overseas to do Wembley Stadium concert with Rihanna, which was being filmed, for sale on DVD. And my wife was in labor, and I had a keyboard in the labor and delivery room to warm her up while we were getting ready to give birth to Lola.
That's
It was funny. And then as soon as the doctors came in, and one of the doctors, the nurses, I forget what they called her position, but she went to
the doula,
midwife.
midwife?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she went to Clayton State with me.
Right on.
Yeah, and so she was the midwife and made us so comfortable. And every time my wife felt pain, she'd press this button.
Press the little button.
Sure.
And I was over here with the keyboard, and what's her name? I don't want to mess her name up. But anyway, she came in the room. She's like, what you going to do, sing the baby out, bro? And I was like, no, I'm working. And she saw Rihanna. Oh, my God, that's Rihanna. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah. And then put that down, packed all the stuff
I
up,
think moments like that will get you a pass. If I would have done something like that, I can't get away
But
with
my
that.
wife, it's okay. As long as we ain't having the baby.
Yeah.
Right
We're
on.
going to be there for hours anyway. Click, click,
Yeah.
click.
But when the baby
thank
comes,
you
it's
so
off.
much for
Yes.
letting us have you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Mrs. Stevenson.
Yeah.
And the daughters, too, because they had to let you go as well.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll go back to
Awesome.
him.
Awesome. Well, look, real quick, man, thanks again for being on here. Where can people find you? On Instagram, Twitter, wherever?
Instagram, it's Robert Raab. Yeah, on Instagram, and I respond to all of the stuff. Yeah, from there. So Robert Raab, that's it.
Okay.
And then on my website, you can find us and email my wife, who does all the scheduling, at www.kamad. That's KIMAD Productions plural.com. So Kamad Productions. There it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Done.
All right.
Yeah. Just Johnny Vaughn, JUSTJONYVAN, all over the place. Catch me on Kiss 104.1 in Atlanta all the time.
Yes.
Right here. Do that.
And y'all know, man, I'm wishing for the simplistic life. But until then, it's Stone 007, ST letter O 07 on Instagram.
Yes.
And Stone 007 on Twitter. You know what? actually have a website, stonestafford.com.
You never said a website.
I've never said that.
So if you notice, I never say the Kiss thing.
You don't.
And somebody caught it, like somebody from work is like, yo, so why don't you ever pump that you own? And I was like, I don't, do I? Which is why I decided to do it today. So stonestafford.com?
Yeah, well, don't go there now. There's a whole lot of updating that needs to happen. But
Construction.
Yeah, it's under construction. But as always, man, you can see us at www.lifeonpodcast.com. You know what it is, man. Tell a friend. What's funny is you say that, and let's be real about it. People don't really do it.
Oh, yeah.
They don't.
But,
just like Stone told Raab to tell all his 50,000 friends to come and stream with him at the beginning, and he still just had one person.
I'm gonna see if I'm at 3,000 yet.
Nope.
But here's the deal, and I'm hating. I'm not hating on y'all. I get it. People say do that at times. Sometimes I don't do it. But whenever someone tells me that they did. The person always thanks him, like, "Yo, who are these guys? Yo, this," and that just warms my heart and blesses my soul. So just know you never know who you might be putting on by sharing this podcast. Because believe it or not, there actually are some people out there that genuinely like this podcast.
Yeah.
So we're very happy for them. We thank you all for sharing it and supporting us. Hit that like and hit that subscribe. Other than that, y'all have an amazing week. Rob, thanks again, man, for joining us. Raab Stevenson.
Thank you.
And that's all we got for you. We out. We love you. Peace.
So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.